Congress. I'm joined first by Democratic Congressman Adam Schiff of California. I guess first, your understanding of where things stand at this hour, Congressman.
Well, negotiations are ongoing. It looked like the differences were being narrowed, but there's still some very significant disputes, and chief among them that Mitch McConnell and Donald Trump want this big bailout fund that they would control. Donald Trump, I think, today said that he would be the oversight when asked about the lack of oversight in the Republican proposal. That's not going to fly for most Americans. We don't want to see abuse of taxpayer dollars through executive compensation or stock buybacks, layoffs that merely enrich some of the executives. Much as Joe Steinmetz said, I think the best approach, frankly, is one in which we avoid layoffs. We incentivize companies by helping to guarantee payroll to keep their employees on. For one thing, it will avoid putting all that pressure on the unemployment system. But for another, when this crisis is over, we can recover that much more quickly if people don't need to go job hunting all of a sudden. So that remains a big sticking point, that essentially $500 billion slush fund that the president is pushing for.
The $500 billion, and there, my understanding is the debate there is that the language that McConnell has used and Treasury Mnuchin says that basically companies have to retain as much of their workforce as is practicable, which is essentially like they got to try. Whereas that Democrats are asking for some actual requirements, right? That a condition of the aid has to be keeping payroll. Is that a fair characterization?
That is a very fair characterization. And look, these industries ought to do the right thing here. They are going to need this financial assistance. We want to keep these industries alive. We want to make sure that those that work in those industries still have a livelihood. And this is a very reasonable condition, which is if you're going to have access to this government funding, then you need to retain your workforce and retain their wages. And we will help guarantee your expenditures to maintain that workforce. That seems to be an eminently fair bargain. I do want to say also, Chris, if I could, with respect to the conversation you just had, it terrifies me to see this president do 180 degrees, first saying there's no problem with the virus, then saying, okay, this is a massive wartime-like crisis, and now preparing, it would appear, to say, let's go back to business as usual. We need to listen to the health experts, the epidemiologists. We need to do what science dictates here to save American lives. And if this president wants to be a wartime president, he needs to stop vacillating, listen to the experts, or simply get out of their way.
I wanted to raise a critique that has been offered by a lot of folks in the Republican Party and conservatives observing this today, which is that they say that Democrats are essentially trying to smuggle in a whole bunch of sort of pre-existing ideological points, extension of the solar tax credit, changing to the funding mechanism of the post office, which the funding mechanism is really messed up in lots of ways. But they say you guys are sort of see this opportunity to get a bunch of stuff you wanted anyway in under the cover of emergency legislation. What's your response to that?
Well, look, I think what they're really focused on is we want to make sure that we protect not only the health of the economy, but the health of our democracy. And for that reason, we want to make sure that we provide that people can vote by mail and have early voting. We saw the fiasco in Ohio. We don't want that repeated. And I think what Donald Trump would like, what Mitch McConnell would like, is a situation where they can create a corporate slush fund that they can do with as they choose, and the voters won't be able to hold them accountable because they won't be able to get to the ballot places without risking their lives. And so we view the economic health and the health of our democracy as very much interrelated. They view the health of their slush fund and suppressing the vote is interrelated, and I think that's part of the conflict.
All right, Congressman Adam Schiff, thank you so much for joining us tonight.